Okay, so summarizing, we have talked about the Docker images and what I said, Docker parent images in last time, and what is Docker Hub. So right now we will be implementing it live via terminals, and now let's fire up the terminal here. So I will be talking one by one. Okay, so before that I will just suggest you to please install this what I say Docker plugin. So just giving a 2-minute brief. So now we are creating a Docker file. Okay, so we will be creating Docker file. Just delete it. Like before making video, I have to revise it, for you. So I make the video quite short. Okay, so we will be creating a Docker file, and in this Docker file there will be like if you remember, I've talked about multiple layers of So this Docker file will indirectly create an image, and that image we will be running in the container from Docker. So in short, we will be creating a Docker file here, and that Docker file we will build it as image with, I will tell you that there is a command, we will be talking about it, and that image will show up here. Okay, and from there if we can just run this. Okay, so I will just showing you this very quick. Okay, so I've created a Docker folder. So if you see the package.json, it has Express. Of course, it can be multiple dependency, whatever you name it. And let's say in the app.js we have a very big project. So right now it's very simple. Okay, and if you notice here a few things, it's running on port 4000. Okay, and yeah, it's a normal JSON file. So let's do it. Okay, so as always, so what you have to do is, let's here, like in the API, like this is, let's say our folder here, let's create a file name with capital D, Docker file. This is what you have to do. There is no extension, nothing. And yeah, if you see, there's a logo of Docker. So first layer is always the parent layer, so that we have to define parent image name. So like since this is a node application, we are just running a node application, and it's a very simple one, initial one. So with this we give a tag, let's say of version 17 and Alpine. Yeah, Alpine, and I think there are a lot of version to it. So yep, we go with this one. Okay, so whenever you write a first layer, you press and enter, give a line. Okay, then you write a new layer, what I say. Okay, and here let's say what we will be doing is, we will be copying all this content to a new directory. Okay, so let's write it copy dot means from the source, and then there is a destination. So the destination will be named something like app. Okay, so right now it's not created, but it's what we are creating. Okay, so but here's the thing, like you may notice that in this whole file we can't always write like this. Like in real working time, it will be a very big directory. Like the working directory can be like anything. So there is a command to like introduce working dr. It's called work dr. It is the absolute part of the working directory. Okay, so if we introduce this with this, so you don't have to add this. Now let me just write it here. So it's copy this and this. This is what we will be doing, right? Now if I talk about the, let's say what commands we will be running, right? For running this node application, it's npm I, which we will be doing, right? So so there are two types of commands which we have to talk about. So first is the commands which are run during the build time, and then there are some commands which are run on the runtime. Okay, so for the build time, if I talk about, so for the build time we enter the commands with run, and when the commands are during the runtime, we use the command name as cmd. Okay, I will clear this out. Let's remove this, and the comments are written like this, don't forget. Okay, now let's enter. So here let's talk about the command which we will be running on the build time, right? So that will be npm I, npm install, right? So let's write cmd, and here we will be doing what, npm install. This is the command, the default executable for executing this container, right? install. Okay, next coming up is the command which we will be running on the runtime. So ask yourself what you will be running. Like once you have done the installation, once you have installed the package.json, we will be doing what? We usually type node app.js, right? So you can't write cmd if you remember. For that there is a command called cmd. Oh, wait a minute, I'm so sorry, this will be run. Okay, so I'm so sorry, I'm revising again. So when you want to run commands on build time, that time you have to use run, and when you want to run commands on the runtime, that time you have to use cmd. Okay, but here's the thing, in cmd you can't directly write commands like this, no. So in cmd you have to use something called arrays. So if you remember, it's if I write it at the top, it's node app.js, right? So here what you have to do is you have to write like this, node comma and app.js. so this is how you have to write the command of this. Okay, now once you have done with this, next is what we will be doing is now let's talk about, there's something we if you remember, I talked about port. So this is running on 4000 port, and this is the optional parameter, but what you have to do is here there is a command for that is, yep, that is something called, if I'm thinking, yeah, expose. Okay, so expose the port you're talking about. So we are running it on which port? 4000. So this actually tells the container like the container like that we will be running on 4000 port, default is 80. And yeah, so what do we do now? Like once this has been done, I don't know why it's okay, yep, okay, so right now once this is done, like now let's go to our terminal, do ls cd api, and here we will be doing what? Docker build. So this is the command to build an image file from the Dockerfile. Okay, and here we will be writing t slash, and you have to write the name of the image file which you want. So if I will write my app, okay, nothing else, and you just click enter. Build requires exactly one argument. Okay, let me just check docker build. I just check what is the issue. Docker build minus t build options. I just check it once. Okay, I got it. I'm so sorry. It will be same, docker build my app. What is the name of the container? Path, and then you can see the this. So I will just write dot. Okay, so right now if you can see, it will be creating the container or the current destination from the file. And yeah, as you can see, docker build, then the option which we have passed t, then path my app, and then the destination. Okay, source. So here we go, this is the command, you remember this. And if you see what we are doing right now is we are actually building, like we are reading each layer one by one. So 1 by 4, first layer it's reading, then it comes here, then goes to the second layer, that is 2. So this one, if you remember, I said this is optional. Then third layer, then the fourth layer. Okay, exporting to image, then it gives a SHA file number here, naming the docker. Okay, docker scan to run. Okay, so once it is done, now let me let's see the main task, that is we have to go to our docker. Let's go to dashboard. Now let's see, if you see, if I talk about images, okay, let's talk about my app. If you can see here, we have created our own my app which is showing on the images. So the next thing is we will be running this, and we will be shifting it to the next stage, that is containers. So this is all our task. So great, we have done it. Now we will be doing the next step. Like now next video we will be talking about the docker file, what docker files are, docker ignore file, sorry. So just a hint, it's just like git ignore, if you remember. So it's just that file that we, like, let's say for node modules or any other files which we really don't want to copy it, right? So yeah, so once it has been converted to container, this is how it will look inside. Okay, so stick to it.